Good evening and welcome to another show on We Are the South Stand. Coming into our third week. We are nearly at 5,000 subscribers, so thank you to every single one. God damn, I can hear myself. That is loud. Give me a second. Jesus Christ, that is mad. You know when you hear your own voice and it sounds absolutely minging, especially when it's loud in your ears. Yeah, nearly at 5,000 subscribers already, so thank you to everyone. Please keep hitting that like button, as I say every show, getting those likes up. Right, today we are here and it's a bit of a somber show, bit of a match reaction, but of course we've had better news. We've had a good transfer window. I'm joined by three of my good friends. Firstly, Mason, what you saying, bro?
Easy, mate. How you doing?
Sorry, 1 second. I can't hear you now. Jesus Christ, what is going on here? Go on, Mason. Talk again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, good, mate.
Yeah? All good?
Yes. Yeah, not bad, mate. Yesterday was obviously thingy, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we will definitely get into that. And Imran, what you saying, bro? You were here with me last week. You good?
Yep. Not in the same mood as we were last week, but yeah, we're here.
Yeah, last week was probably in a better place, weren't we? And finally, we've got Callum, who is all the way over. I presume he's still over there, bro, in Portugal. You still there?
Still here, yeah.
Still here, yeah. Callum all the way over in Portugal. There is a relevance, a very much big relevance to Callum being here because he probably knows a lot more about one of the players that we've signed today than most of us know. Hold tight, everyone in the chat as well. I see Peter asking, where's Steve? Steve's just travelled back today, to be honest with you. Steve is going to be on Big Six at around 10:30 tonight. And to be honest with you, it's going to be a long show for Steve. So I think he probably needs a bit of rest because going on a channel that is predominantly Arsenal orientated after losing 5-1 to Arsenal. I mean, do you know what? If you are a Manchester City fan now, and whether you have probably Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, in fact, I don't even think you need social media, right? They're unbearable. They are absolutely unbearable. So let's get into it, lads. Mason, how do you feel, bro? How do you feel yesterday?
It was odd because when we equalised and then quickly went to 2-1, I still weren't panicked. I know that sounds daft coming from how it ended, but I thought we were all right. We coped, and then I don't know what happened.
Well, for 45 seconds.
Yeah, but no, even after that, there was a switch, and I just was like, what's going on? And then Eds just looked like they dropped, and then it, 3, 4, 5. I was just like, here we go. But it's one of them, I'm like, I'll try and keep some sort of positive out of it. It's one of them, mate. We crack on, don't we? We move on. It was shy, but we just move on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to break the game down more, but Imran, how about you? How do you feel after yesterday?
It was definitely humbling, wasn't it? Going there, we knew we were in for a tough night. It wasn't going to be it wasn't going to be an easy game. Most likely a lot of us thought we'd come back and we'd lose that game, but we just wanted to save some face and hopefully possibly get a draw or nick a win. But I think we all were realistic. We've seen how we've been over the last few months, especially like even against Chelsea and midweek in the Champions League. We're still susceptible to those transitions and into those previous two games came down to obviously teams not finishing us off really. Yeah. And we just thought if Arsenal do the same, then yeah, we can probably get the best out of them. I mean, we can probably get a win or maybe get a draw out of it. But if they're going to be clinical, man, then we weren't really up for much. Obviously we didn't have much of a chance really. But yeah, it came to the day, it came to the game, and usual stuff, isn't it? Where we can only play one way at the moment because of the way the type of players we have because of that slow midfield. We keep hearing that. Oh, do you know what? We need to be a lot quicker on our transitions, but we don't have the players to deal with quick transitions. And a typical example is when we were 2-1 down. We tried to do the quick transition, and we just fell apart because then we tried to do the route one, go straight for the, get the ball out as quick as possible. But those passes were just not working out. The passing was atrocious. But obviously, look, because of our slow midfield and the legs that we've got in midfield, we can't keep up with that pace. And you know what, Arsenal, you got to give it to them because they've got gears in them. And we keep saying, and I've said it in the past that in previous seasons, we'd be coasting at 1-0 and we may concede a goal, and it's like all of a sudden we're thinking, right, you know what? When we need to notch up that gear, we can notch up that gear and get the second and third. And that's exactly what Arsenal did yesterday. Just they just notched up the gears, man. And when they needed that goal, when it was 1-1, they just thought, right, that's it, let's go for it. And obviously, when teams do that, we really can't. We really don't stand a chance, really, with that midfield. And obviously all the frailties with our passing at the moment. So yeah, it's just a bit of everything, to be honest.
Hold tight, Zane. See, an Arsenal fan has found his way in here. Says, Dap, sharks are extinct now. If sharks are extinct, does that mean that you're not a shark then? And that Liverpool don't need to watch out what's behind them? Just to confirm, because Zane, just to remind you, you're second, bro. But if you're saying sharks aren't extinct, you're not looking to hunt down and be a predator on anyone, and you're happy with second place. New sheriff in town, and his name's Ethan Wanyeri. Yeah, man, listen, he was my one worry going into the game, to be honest with you. I was worried that when Saka got injured, I was starting to think, maybe we could get something here. Then Wanyeri, I saw him midweek against Girona and thought, they've got a threat again. But hold tight, Zane, for the super chat. And thanks for letting me know you're not a predator. I appreciate it a lot. Callum, how about you? How are you feeling? Probably a bit better than us. You've probably got better weather than us, so it's a bit easier to take.
Yeah, I do over here. Obviously it's not been great as it yesterday. Just susceptible to counter-attacks all the time. You see the second goal, Foden giving the ball away in a silly area where he shouldn't have really done that ball. I think Thomas Partey was behind the referee, so he couldn't really see him. So, but playing a ball like that is basically playing a suicide ball into their midfield, and obviously got the second goal. And it just felt like we collapsed. The same in Lisbon, the same in PSG.
Same against Man United at the Etihad, to be honest with you. It's one mistake and then we collapse. It does seem to be that. It's a mistake.
I think at the moment it's just the mentality where the players, the confidence has been basically shot dead. It's just all the time. It's just that midfield where the counter, everyone gets us on the counter attack, and there's no way of stopping it until today. Obviously, we've got our new man. So
we'll move into that later. People, over 100 people in here already. Please, if you haven't already, check that like button is lit. If we could get it up to 100 likes as quickly as possible, hopefully it will push this out to a few people. Anyone know the Chelsea score? Last time I checked, it was 0-0.
1-0.
1-0 Chelsea.
Scored.
1-0 West Ham.
Bowens have scored.
Lovely. Well, we're still fourth right now, boys. Still fourth. Do you know what? I think that's one of the biggest issues is the mistakes. It's the mistakes that we're giving away, and it's killing us. And the problem is that we're making mistakes within the first minute, first 2 minutes, first 3 minutes, and it's putting us on the back foot. Look, we have to give it to Arsenal for yesterday. This is what I do want to say. We do have to give it to Arsenal. One thing that, as I understand,
the fans let them down.
Mate, listen, Mason, listen. There is a reason, right? Because sometimes, probably to some of you lot as well, that sometimes when you see my dislike towards Arsenal, like there's probably sometimes some of you lot think, fucking hell, you really hate them daps. It's because I live around them, right?
Yeah.
A lot of my group chats are Arsenal fans, right? I've got sorry, Arsenal fans, not all of you. Some of you are great, but they sum up Londoners. They're arrogant, they're entitled, and it is what it is. But yesterday, to a certain extent, we just have to let them have it, because we've had fun with them lot for many, many years. We've had, and that's why I think yesterday maybe it hurt a little more, because even if we look at the games over the last 2-3 years where they've got some better results against us, right? They've beat us in the Community Shield on penalties, right? They've beat us 1-0 at the Emirates, and then they've drawn with us at the Etihad, right? But still, ultimately, it wasn't really. Yesterday, it was like, fucking hell. They've done to us what we've done to them a few times. And do you know what? The thing is that I think they now probably think that that's it. That's it with us. And this is what we need to get a grip of right now is, before we talk on the DM, let's talk on the defence, because I think the defence is getting away with it a little bit based on the fact we don't have a DM, which I understand because they don't have a protector. Yeah. But is it time that we start calling out a few of our defenders a little bit?
100%, definitely. I think, you know what? I just noticed, like, for those goals that, you know, John Stones was in the thick of it. You know, like the way they weren't real blocks. You know, like it was the space. You know, like where he just
stands there.
Yeah, stands.
It's not throwing himself for the ball like Diaz does. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you need to really like commit and get those blocks. But really, like he was sort of involved in 4 of those goals. He was the one that was there. Even like if you think about Akanji starting off right from the beginning, he's not the player, is he, that he was last season, or he has in the previous seasons. And obviously we're trying to rotate these players, and obviously injuries has been a big issue. But look, these guys have to step up, man. The only thing I can point to is what Pep said like a few weeks ago, which was that some of these players are playing with injuries. Now, he didn't make it clear. He didn't say who these players were. We definitely know John Stones is struggling with injuries. So, yeah, you know, he could clearly be one of those players that's obviously doing that. But look,
I've heard of Kanji today as well, by the way. I've heard of Kanji's playing through injuries as well.
So this is the thing. Look, we're getting picked on because of our players, our main players not performing. But at the same time, we know some of these players are playing with injuries. And obviously, there's only a certain amount of performance we're going to get out of these guys, and that could be one of the reasons. But obviously, look, it's difficult to think of these players and say these guys just don't have it, or their legs have gone, or they've just not got the motivation. These aren't those players, man. If you look at it over the years, man, these guys have been the mentality monsters. The guys that have they've crossed, they've passed, they've gone across the line every season in, season out, and now all of a sudden for this to happen, you can just there has to be stuff like that, man. It's just
but
probably more players.
But if I ask you a question, if you look at I'm going to remove Stones a little bit, but I'm then going to bring him back in a minute. Are any of our defenders leaders? Have we ever seen any of our defenders be leaders?
Except Diaz.
Diaz isn't there. That's what I'm saying. Without Diaz, no. And without, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna cast the net a little bit further. Are we missing leaders across our whole starting 11 at the moment?
Absolutely.
Is that not the truth? That it's leaders. It's people that know every element of leading. And I hate to say it, I think that's what it is, bro. I honestly think that's what it is. Whether it be leading the lines, whether it be, like Diaz, for example, if you look at all of our big losses we've had this season, I don't know if Diaz has been in any of them. Didn't the only one I can? All right, he was at PSG, but he came off at half time. At half time, we were it was 0-0, right? So we hadn't conceded. Against Man United, I think. Did he play the full game against United?
I wasn't even there, man. So I
I can't remember if he played. But either way, if he did play United, he was fresh back from an injury. But it's just, I think we're missing leaders at the moment, massively. Mason, what are you thinking? You're on mute.
Yeah and no.
Go
on. I think it goes past leaders, to be honest. I think it's a mentality thing across the team. You see when you go down, you mentioned it before about we go down in the first minute or two or something like that, and then for them to somehow pick themselves up through that point doesn't seem to be clicking, or something seems to just not be there, which was maybe there because you mentioned about sort of lead and things like that. Who was the leader? The last year when we won it, or the year before that, or the year before
Rodri Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz still was injured, not as much, which I'll give. Is not a thing. Rodri, I can give you, but then I'm still going to hold that line that I said to you last time of can't be a one-man team. We can't lose one player.
I'm not saying, I'm certainly not bold, but here's the thing. I think a lot. Right, let's bring John Stones back into the mix for a second. John Stones had Vincent Kompany, look mint. John Stones had Laporte next to him, who, by the way, I think Laporte is a leader. Look mint. John Stones next to Ruben Diaz looks mint. Akanji next to Ruben Diaz looks mint. Vardy, all of them. And do you know what? Actually, I will say, last season Walker was a leader. This season, not so. But Walker last season was still showing qualities of a leader.
That's the only thing. Like, look, doesn't he say something when the squad gets to choose their captain and they've chosen Walker? Does that say something? Like, if you ask any of our fans and say who would you want as your leader, as the captain of Man City, they would have either picked Diaz or Rodri.
Or Rodri, yeah.
It's odd that these two haven't been picked, and these players have picked Walker ahead of them. It's just. It's baffling. I don't see. I'm not sure what they've seen in leadership, but I just don't think there's any other leaders in that team other than them two. Even KDB, I don't think he's a leader. No. He doesn't get picked for leadership. Obviously, he's part of the wider leadership team, and so is Bernardo. But we've not seen these guys properly lead the team and captain the team throughout the season.
No.
Obviously, Gundo was the last one that did that, and I think Diaz is the guy, man. And with these players not playing, we seriously have some issues in terms of leadership.
I think when you form a leadership group, the difference between being a captain and being part of the leadership group is people have different roles in the leadership group. I think it's obvious that Walker as part of a leadership group worked. Walker as a leader, maybe not so. KDB, great as part of a leadership group. But again, I don't think... Do you know what it is, right? I think maybe at the moment, if you look at yesterday, when we got that goal back, someone should have ultimately been... The leader needs to be helping the team on the pitch with their game management. Do you know what I mean? And saying, right, lads, we don't need to go for the jugular straight away. Let's frustrate this team. It's 1-1 now in the Emirates. Let's frustrate this team for 5-10 minutes. Any balls come back. Let's not try and do no fancy crap, right? Let's just boot the ball back up, right? Get the ball away, right? Let's frustrate them for 5-10 minutes, right? And rattle them a little bit. Whereas instead, it's like no one's giving any instruction. It's almost like who was the captain yesterday, by the way?
Bernardo Silva.
Right, Bernardo Silva. Who? Do you know what? We'll give Bernardo Silva actually credit because Bernardo Silva's captain against Bruges. No, sorry, against Chelsea was spot on when he saw how rattled Kusanov was and went back and helped him. That's the type of things captains should be doing, right? Maybe in the heat of the moment yesterday, Bernardo Silva's whole thing would just start kicking out, But these are the things at the moment. My biggest thing is leading the line. I'll be honest with you. Without Ruben Diaz, and that's my worry. We're going to move on to our signing shortly and hopefully make this show a bit more positive. But my concern is that even with a DM, without Ruben Diaz, we're still going to have an issue.
Do you know what my concern is?
Go on.
My concern is Haaland doesn't get involved in the game enough. And I know that's going to open a massive kind of worms, but Haaland. He doesn't, and the reason I say that is I understand his job. I understand not discrediting the goal score, anything like that. But he did it against Chelsea, where he got the ball, he'd run, he'd come back, he'd pick up the ball, he'd run at people, he'd intimidate people, especially where we're lacking at the minute in midfield.
Yeah.
Watched him yesterday against Arsenal. I don't think I've seen his head up for 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he was a bit static yesterday.
So I'm just and it's not necessarily. I'm not saying Haaland needs to be sat on the halfway line every 2 seconds, attacking every ball that comes in past him and etc. But he's an intimidating presence. Stick it on people a bit. He when that ball we're struggling and you can see the midfield and the defenders are struggling. Just go and stick it on Odegaard or stick it on Partey or someone like this. Put something a bit different, mix it up a bit. Like, I'm not expecting it for 90 minutes, but when you see him and we're, that when we went 2-1 down and you're looking at him and his head's just on the floor and I'm just like, I know what your job is and I'm not criticising because I don't think any of us could ever criticise Haaland, and if you do, I think you're a bit silly. But that extra bit of just pick your head up a bit, mate, and run at someone, throw people about. Like,
would you say there's an element of a bit of at times maybe lacking a bit of team spirit and fight? Again, getting back because the problem is, like, I think we can safely say the midfield's causing us big issues. Oh, Mason's gone. Midfield's causing us big issues, but maybe this is where we need more bodies in midfield. Right, let's. Just
one point on that. Like at 3-1, you expect that. Look, it looked like we had no ideas at 3-1.
Yeah,
I just would have liked to see, like, all right, you know what, we need the legs. We need a bit more, like, a little bit more support in midfield. Maybe just switch it up a bit. Just you know what, take Haaland off, play Marmoush up front, and let's see how that works, because we've not tried that this season. Just try it out for half a game, or 20 minutes of the game. Just see how that goes. Gives Haaland a bit of a rest as well, and we can just try something new. See how that works in these games. But it just seems like we're just trying the same things at the moment, and we just need a bit of a change in system possibly, and just see how it works.
Go on, Cal.
As well, I don't think anybody's pointed out as well, and for the past few games and watching this sort of player playing a position he's never played before as well. He's played for Sporting Lisbon and Wolves in midfield, and all of a sudden now he's playing right back. Matheus Nunes, what's that all about? You see, yesterday, again, they knew exactly where to go at us. Against Chelsea, he put Kahushinov in a situation where he should have been back to help him, and that basically made him do the mistake. And then, you lot were saying as well, why didn't we just yesterday, after 1-1, just get the ball 5-10 minutes, even just do what Arsenal did? And Pep Guardiola pointed it out at Brentford away, if you remember. Ortega Moreno, after the game, was fuming because apparently Pep wanted him to waste time when it was 2-1, and he put the ball out and kicked it out, and then obviously threw it out again. And then it obviously, after that, about a minute later, they came down the other end and got the equaliser. So again, I don't know why we didn't try and frustrate Arsenal yesterday by playing their tactics like they did at the Etihad and go down and fake injuries and just take the sting out of the game. But what is not helping at the moment is playing Matheus Nunes as a right back.
I think it's right. So let's call out the elephant in the room. Right, I'll ask one question. Anyone here Pep out?
No way.
Good. Good answer.
I might be out if you ask that
Is someone typing? Is someone typing? If anyone's typing, I can hear it really, really
All right.
Right, Mason, was that a no from you as well? I hope it was a no. I'm pretty certain it was a no from you. Oh, it might not be. Hold on a second. Mason?
What?
Pep out?
No, I'm just wondering why you're asking a silly question.
Right, good. That's what I wanted. That's kind of the response I heard. Cool. So we're all comfortable that none of us are Pep out, right? And I would hope most people in the comments are also comfortable with Pep out. The reason I asked this, by the way, is because when I go on last night, when I'm on Never a Foul or any other channels that involve rival fans, they ask me, and the comments are straight away on me with, you need to be more critical of your manager. And I'll say, right, I am critical of him, but it seems like nothing I say is critical enough. Do you want me to just say Pep out, right? And that's why I'm asking it. Let me be fucking clear. I am nowhere near, not remotely. But I just want to get the elephant in the room out there because then now we can say, do you know what? Yeah, at times this season, maybe Pep is getting things wrong, right? And will we all agree on that?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think obviously there are things that he's quite stubborn about. Maybe he does need to change a little bit of that, but not to the extent that get rid of the guy. That's just crazy. He's got plenty of credit in the bank to to continue for another 5 seasons.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing where I think we are at the moment. Slightly. Can you remember Pep's first season, where he was being very stubborn? People were saying he was being naive. People were saying his style of football will not work in this country. Right? That summer, he got the right resources, and the rest is history. Right? Now, if we look at this right now, is Pep being stubborn again, ultimately, and he's trying to stick to his same style of play? But at the moment, the truth is, we haven't got the resources to do it at the moment.
But then that answers, that goes back to the original question. What you ask is, I know what none of us are, but Pep out. Maybe it's about time some of the players started pulling the socks up and realising that the first thing that a lot of football fans, people will jump on, as a lot of people do, is managers. And they'll go, is it the manager's fault? Is Pep being stubborn? Is Pep doing this? Is Pep doing that? Look at the people that are sat on the pitch. You've just mentioned it about 2 minutes ago about Matheus Nunes sitting at right back.
Yeah.
But then I know what people are saying, and they're going to go, we'll change that. For who? For what? We play Rico Lewis there, he gets thrown about, everyone complains about it. So he stops playing him there, he plays Matheus Nunes there, everyone complains about it. And then you have a lot of people that I seen yesterday talking about Kyle Walker. The best thing we did as a club was let him go.
Kyle Walker?
About why we play Matheus Nunes as a right back and we let Kyle Walker go. So this is why I brought it up.
So the one player that everyone seemed to be in agreement with, that it was time for him to move on. Now, why do you knew it'd happen though?
You knew it'd happen. You knew there'd be people out there that'd say that, and I've said to you that on multiple occasions, mate. The best thing Man City could do is get rid of Kyle Walker, and the reason being is we mentioned it before about players' mentality and not necessarily Guardiola's. Is some of them players need to pick their heads up and realising Kyle Walker wasn't going to be one of them that picked his head up. So maybe he is being typical Pep and being stubborn, but sometimes that needs to happen when you start wanting to drop people that aren't pulling away.
But that's where I'm going with that. Ultimately, right now, and this is where it's a good point, I guess, to transition onto talking about the players we've bought and what we can expect. I just want to do the super chat.
Can we talk about why we're here as well? Why we've got here, and just before you move on to the super chat, Daps. You know what? Don't you think we need to address some of the issues around transfers over the years? So our board have made some bad choices, and let's hold on. Can we move? No, let's move on into that afterwards, because I think we're at 29 minutes. It's 162 people watching. Thank you for being here. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. Just want to go through the super chats. There's only 2, but this is a perfect point to move into the transfers and to talk about some of the transfers we've got wrong. But now look at maybe some of the transfers we've made this window and what that might mean in the next 12 months. Because I think
I'm starting to see some things that maybe these are the resources that Pep needs, but we can't expect it to be this season. But anyway, first one is off of. I'm going to try and. Can anyone pronounce that? Because I don't want to get that wrong. I'm trying to work out.
That's not a name, that.
If that is a net, but it's Buddy at the end.
Abiodun Buddy.
Abiodun Buddy. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support for $4.99 US dollars. Appreciate that. Thank you. Next one. This is relevant from Lux Sirius. Leadership can't stop bozo moments. Some players are just not good enough for City standards. Now, I think you're right with that. I think. Do you know what? Akanji's got bozo moments in him. I'm going to be honest with you. He has. Nunes has got bozo moments in him. Nunes has got moments where when he makes mistakes, his head completely goes. Now, they're not the only ones. Foden yesterday showed us bozo moments. And to be fair, Ortega, who generally hasn't really shown us too many, showed us he's got bozo in him as well. But is that not just where we are as a club at the moment, that our confidence is low?
Can I just say as well, Daps, and you were mentioning the manager and stuff just before, but it comes down to him playing Matheus Nunes as a right back.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. He's not a right back. He's never been a right back.
So let's ask the question. Who would
hold on, that the excuse he used was because he's quick. Because he's faster than Kyle Walker over 50, 60 yards, faster than Erling Haaland. It doesn't work like that. If you can't defend, Dabs, you can't defend. You're asking a man to do a job that can't do a job. It's just...
All right, let me put it this way. Has he been good going forward, though?
Yesterday, he was okay going forward, but he weren't the best. He had some good moments, but when he needed to cross the ball into the box, he didn't do it.
Do you think Nunes is good enough for this team?
No.
Right, okay, cool. There we go. I was going to come to you after that, Mason.
You don't want to. You know
no,
you don't.
That's what I was going to come to you, because I know. Right, so let's move on from this. Who would you have played at right back yesterday?
Yesterday, for me, the new lad, the Uzbekistan lad, Kanushinov. I know he had a bozo moment against Chelsea, but the lad defensively is strong. And if you tell him not to go forward, and you see what he did to Jackson defensively against Trossard, he would bully Trossard. I know it probably sounds silly by playing him, or even put Akanji there. I know it sounds a bit silly, but what else can we do?
Yeah, no.
I'm slightly concerned that we've bought two centre backs, and who are both playing regular football for the clubs, albeit very little. And Pep said we're struggling defensively, and he's played one of them for 45 minutes. I'm a bit confused by that.
All right, so let's. I hear you, but this is where I think we have to remember who we played yesterday. We have to remember where we played them. This was Arsenal at the Emirates, and listen, Arsenal at the Emirates for the last couple of years has been a difficult game, and in fact, let's go even back as far as. Probably 2-3 seasons ago when we scored the last minute winner with Rodri. That was a difficult game, right? So off the back of Kuzanov playing against Chelsea, where he had a bit of a nightmare, right? I actually think he grew into the game massively after that. If Pep was to have played him yesterday and he made another mistake, now we would be blaming Pep for something still, but it would be a different thing. We'd be saying, what is Pep doing with this young lad, throwing him in the deep end like that? Now, I do believe straight away we've got him because I think he's going to be our right back. Now, I know not everyone agrees with me on that, but I've watched his game. He prefers the right-hand side. He's as quick as Walker, right? He's strong. And then if we look at Manchester City, when we're at our best, the truth is we play 4 centre-backs, right? We don't play with full-backs. We play with 4 centre-backs. So I personally think Kuzanov is going to be our right back, and I hope I see him as our right back on Saturday against Leyton Orient, because I think that's a perfect type of game to see what he can do there. But what I'm trying to say is, I hear what everyone's saying, but if we played him there and he had a nightmare, Pep would be getting the blame again. right?
But we can say as well, when Mateus Nunes played against PSG, he had a nightmare there for PSG's first goal against Barcola. He got absolutely burnt by him, nutmegged. What on earth he was doing, letting him go past as well. It was a bit like Vinicius Junior and Fernandinho against Madrid. When we won
that game was destined to fail. The second half, when we came out, we had Rico Lewis and Nunes. I mean, Imran, we were sat next to each other. We had Rico Lewis on one side, Nunes on the other, against Barcola and Dembele, right? But this is the thing. We are where we are right now. And again, by the way, we have to put some blame on Pep and the board that we didn't address this last summer, right? But we are where we are. The next person to talk about that we've bought is Vitor Hayes, right? Now, from what I've seen on him and what I've read on him, he's a leader. I've heard, now, again, he's young. We can't expect him to come in right now and be a leader. But when I say a leader, right, I'm not meaning he's Manchester City captain material next season. That is not what I'm meaning. What I've heard about him is that the minute he joined the club we've got him from, he's an organizer. He's and although he's a young kid, he's telling players where to be. Now, think about Ruben Diaz. When Ruben Diaz arrived at Manchester City, I believe, was he 21 when we bought him?
Yeah. 22, 23.
Right. I'm pretty certain he was. I think he might have been 21, but I could have been wrong. But either way, the minute he arrived at Manchester City, you saw him helping to organise the defence, pushing John Stones into position. Sometimes players just have that organisation skills in them, that element of leadership. And this is where I'm starting to look at the players we're buying and thinking, maybe so it was 23, you're right, my bad. We are buying players that will fit the way Pep wants to play next season. It doesn't get us through this season, but I'm starting to see maybe what we're trying to do. Does anyone think we need more? Does anyone think, right, this summer, because I heard somebody say that Pep's going to have to choose between Akanji, Stones and Ake and maybe let one or two of them go?
All three of them.
You'd let all three of them go? What, in one window?
Yep. What happened the first season? Guardiola come in. What did he do? Got rid of loads of players.
Yeah, I hear it.
So
I hear it, but...
we get to a point, mate, where because what people are going to do, they're going to hold on to nostalgia and they're going to hold on to these players have done good things. If we have a full season where all of these players constantly get injured, every single one of them players that you mentioned are either injured, playing with an injury, had a knock, can't stay in a run of game for more than 5 games. I seen a stat that they put up about John Stones the other day saying it's like the longest streak he's had in God. Don't get me wrong, they're all class on the day and they will be. But how long do then we do? We go and keep them 3 players. We've obviously got these 2 young kids. 2 months into it, they get injured again. What happens then?
Oh, that was where I was with John Stones. I think when the summer we bought Diaz, I was saying this is the last season I'm giving John Stones, and then that season along with Ruben Diaz, they were absolutely mint, and both of them stayed fit. Now, this is where we are with John Stones. Right, we're playing Leyton Orient this weekend. I think it's a perfect game to maybe embed a couple of these players. Right, I'm thinking maybe play Kusanov at right back. I'm thinking probably we can play Rico Lewis at left back, right? And then I'm thinking, right, then your partnership.
It'd be that new kid. It'd be that Reyes. I think it'll play.
But here's the key, with who?
That young lad, that O'Reilly.
Right. O'Reilly at centre-back?
Throw him there. Yeah, really.
For me, John Stones or Simpson
is about play John Stones in the middle. I love John Stones as a modern midfielder.
Hold on, guys. We've got Real Madrid on the Wednesday afterwards, and then we've got Newcastle. Do we all feel like we can trust John Stones to play him against Leyton Orient?
That's what I'm saying.
This is the problem
we've got. But when the big difference, it's Leyton Orient, so we've got to take it with a pinch of salt. But the big difference with John Stones is when he's playing as a defender, as we've seen the other day, it looks like every single challenge he goes in for it's like, is he going to come out of this alive?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
when he's shielding the ball behind him and he's got no control of his body, he's just throwing it into someone. And then when he's in midfield, it's John Stones that we seen when we won the treble, and John Stones that we seen against the other day against Chelsea, when he's pinging balls and throwing balls here, and everywhere. And I'm like, at centre half, it's like you're scared you're going to get shot every 2 seconds. Like, give him that freedom to put him in the middle. He plays like a different player. Yeah, John Stones.
Yeah,
he plays unbelievable in the middle.
I hear it, but again, if we're going to put right, I've also heard similar things about Vitor Hayes as well. Though this is the thing that's what he can do that as well. He can move forward with the ball. Imran, what are you thinking on this defense? What overall?
I think firstly we need to consider when's Diaz and Ake back. Firstly,
so I've heard Diaz is back. Right, so Ake, there's no date next to Ake yet. Ake, we're not sure on. Diaz, I've heard. So Real Madrid is in about 9 days' time. No, yeah, 9 days' time. First leg's next Tuesday or Wednesday. Next Tuesday. So it's 8 days. Yeah. It's only 8 days. I believe Diaz is due to be fit a day or two before.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But
so
this
look,
is the worst place we are, because right now we're all sat here. If I asked all four of us, and I asked probably the comments,
it's a tough one, isn't it? It really is a tough one now.
And this is where Pep is. The people are now saying Pep's playing people unfit, but that's where Pep is right now, guys. If Diaz is going to be fit on Sunday, does he play on Tuesday against Real Madrid?
Yeah,
comes in cold.
We hope he does, but you know what? What's the chances of him making through it? Obviously, he's already played like two or three games in a row now, 2.5 games in a row. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Like, look, we have to play to start Akanji. He'll have to start.
But Akanji, by the way, who apparently is playing through an injury.
Look, we snookered, man.
So in that case, do we now move on to another thing when we're looking at this and say, actually, why did we not go and get one more player in the window?
That's why I said play Nico O'Reilly at centre half.
Yeah, but Bo, O'Reilly's come up through the academy in an 8-10 role. What are we doing?
But we've got no players and we're playing Leyton Orient.
Simpson, you can play there, no?
Yeah, we've got to play SP. Sorry, I can't call him that. I'm going to call him SP because otherwise I'll pronounce it wrong.
Do you remember when you said at the start of the show about particular players not being good enough to play for Man City? That's one of them right there.
Who?
That's Simpson Pusa.
Agreed, but it's Leyton Orient.
Well, all right, so Nico O'Reilly.
But Nico, right, bro. But this is where
he's not a defender, though. Why would you say a player that's not a defender?
He's an 8-10. Pep decided to play him in a DM role, and now as a fullback. Now we're throwing him as a fucking centre back, bro.
You're going to play. So the midfield. The midfield. Who do you think the midfield is going to be for Leyton Orient? Who do you think will play there?
For me, it has to be Gonzalez. Right, we've got to just get him in and embed him.
Yeah. So there's one gone.
That's, in my opinion, I would save Gonzalez for Madrid. I wouldn't play him against Leyton Orient. I'll give him at least a week to train.
Why? Because
he needs to be fully focused on that Madrid game, because we need to get a result against them. I wouldn't play him against Leyton Orient.
He doesn't need game time. He doesn't need game time. He needs to gel with that team.
Hold on, but are we worried about his fitness now? Because in that case, why are we fucking bought him? We don't need another one. We're worrying about their fitness.
It's not fitness at all. What if he has a stinker?
I hear it, but
don't forget. Look, this is you're playing. You're not going to play the first team at City, right? Some of these guys are already in bad form, and then you're playing along with these guys, right? Things aren't working for them. Things possibly can just go wrong for you as well. You know, you're forward thinking. He's ahead mentally. He's probably thinking ahead of some of these players that he'll be playing with on that day. A few things don't work out, and then all of a sudden it's like, he's getting into his head. So I think you know what, he should have training sessions with those first team players leading up to the Real Madrid game, and just literally play a different. The standard of these players that he'll be playing with and training with is better than the Leyton Orient standard anyway. So Just right, but you're gonna. But
are we all right? So fair enough. So let's look at midfield and attack. I think up top, I'd quite like against Leyton Orient to see Marmoush in the 9. by himself, right, and actually see him up top. I would like to see Bob get some game time. Hopefully we can see that. And then apart from that, we're thinking probably start Grealish.
Start Grealish. Yeah, definitely start Grealish.
I
just think Cover shouldn't be playing. Probably Gundo will play, but I just don't see us winning games without Cover. But it's later Orient.
And by the way, Riku, I'm not worried about Leighton Orient. I'm more thinking Leighton Orient about how we can use the Leighton Orient game, right? It's not McAtee. Yeah, McAtee should start, but McAtee for me should start in the midfield. It seems like McAtee's kind of being put into a role that I don't like. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. McAtee and Nunes and Grealish, all three of them, I don't understand why any of those three haven't really been given some significant game time in an 8 role this season.
Yeah.
None of them are 8s by trade. Well, Nunes kind of is, to be fair. But I think with the fact that we've been, one of the issues we've got is that people like De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, one of the slight reasons they're not looking as good this season is because at their age they're having to play so many games. So even if we just bought them a bit of rest time by playing one of those three in there, but
I could be miles off it, but I don't think Grealish's head's in it.
Yeah,
like to play football, to be honest. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because when he come on against PSG, by the way, just as a bit of a shout out, he looked unbelievable for that first little 10 minutes he come on when he scored.
Yeah.
But when he scored the goal, he didn't look arsed. He didn't look bothered. He was just, and I don't mean from I understand it's been tough for him and he's not been playing and things like that, but he come on and I was just a bit like, ooh, looks a bit. So when you look at a player and you think they don't look like they want to be there at the minute, that's the vibe that I got from Grealish. And again, we played Chelsea after that. We played Arsenal after that. Did he come on at all? Don't even think we've seen him.
No, his head doesn't. I think with Grealish, just a quick one for the panel before we move on to speak on Gonzalez a little bit more. I've got one other question for you as well. For the panel, do you think the players are poorly conditioned? We can't seem to keep up with physical teams.
I just think the stress of how we played that's a massive thing as well. What I'll add is the way we played for the past 4 years has been 100% for 4 years in a row.
Yeah,
constantly. And then we've hit speed bumps and we've been knocked out of, obviously certain cups throughout the years and we've not won them. So it's kind of the shit thing is we've gone from sort of 100% all the time, winning, battering teams. We've not gone to like 50%. We've dropped to like 10. Yeah. So that's why. But then also, and
we have to talk about. Look, when we're saying we can't physically keep up with the team, if we're being completely honest, we can't expect that from like the main area to keep up with teams is in the middle of the park, right? And again, De Bruyne is like the signs have been there. Do you know what? I beg everyone thinks back in their minds to the Euros, right? The Euros was a perfect example with two players, Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan, right? Now, Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan, if you go and watch the first couple of games for Germany and the first couple of games for Belgium, both De Bruyne and Gundogan were mints, right? Gundogan was the opening game of the tournament. I fully remember watching it. I remember De Bruyne had one game early on in the tournament where he was unbelievable. But Belgium and Germany kept playing them both. And guess what? By the end of the tournament, both of them just looked absolutely knackered, right? It's the same thing. We brought back Gundogan to be a bit part player, to come in, maybe Rodri, we're 2-0 up at 60th minute, bring Rodri off, put Gundogan in there. That was the role of Gundogan. Gundogan has found himself as a 34-year-old, correct me if I'm wrong, because I always get ages wrong, sorry, having to play every game, right? That's meaning that people can overrun us. Now, this is not, by the way, excuses. This is facts, and this is still on the board. But just quickly before we move on to Gonzalez, do we think that either Kuzanov or Ray or Hayes should be played against Leyton Orient with a kind of question of if they perform well, they then play against Madrid?
it's a no-brainer, Daps. You play Kusanov against Madrid at right back. You don't play Mateus Nunes there. Absolutely no chance. You take the risk and you play the new man, Nico Gonzalez, in midfield. That's as simple as it gets. Really.
Hold on, but we're going to move on to Gonzalez. Yeah. But would you, with Kusanov and with Hayes, would you play them against Leyton Orient with they have a good game and we're playing them against Madrid?
I agree with the first part. Play them, but it's not, I don't think it's a stick to measure them by to whether they'll be able to play against Real Madrid. If that was a measuring stick, it would have been Arsenal. That was a game that you should have thrown them on and seen whether if they can play in those positions. So what throwing them later Orient, it's not. I don't think it's a measuring stick. To be honest.
I think against Leyton Orient. But if you see any qualities of either of them, would you then, or are we going? Do you know what? Against Real Madrid, we've got to use those two, Kusanov and Hayes, against Leyton Orient to rest some other players so that they can start against. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I would go with
But we've seen the quality of Kusanov in the second half against Jackson. Threw him to the floor. So, and his pace and everything like that. So, for me, it's a no-brainer, Daps.
Both of them or just Kusanov in particular?
Just Kusanov you play. Right. And then play Stones, Diaz, Vardio against Madrid and risk Diaz. He has to be risked.
Yeah. See, I think Riku's agreeing with you here that you either surrender Vinny getting a hat trick, or make Vinny cry because Kusanov is throwing him about. Bro, this is, and I brought this up because Cal, you messaged me last night, right? And the Hayes bit I thought was one step too far, right? Saying, when you said Hayes and Kusanov will handle Vinicius and Mbappe, I was thinking, bro, what are we doing here? Yeah, but I do hear the Kusanov bit. The guy is a warrior, and the guy also, is rapid as hell. He's probably the best we have against Vinicius at the moment. And he'd be better. Right, we know Rico O'Reilly is not going to be able to be physically, he's no stronger than Vinicius, right? Vinicius will cook him, right? We know that the other option would be, I guess, if Diaz does come back against Madrid, we could play Stones, Diaz, and Akanji. And then all of a sudden, I think in an ideal world, that would probably be the ideal. Would you say?
Akanji, I would drop him against Madrid.
What? You'd still play Kusanov over Akanji, against Vinicius?
Too many mistakes he's done. Too many mistakes. His head's gone as well.
Look, for me, Akanji is the guy to play at right back. The only issue is that it's because of the injuries we've got at centre back that we can't afford to play a centre back on the right at the moment purely because of the injuries. But let's say we've got all our centre backs, back from injury. We can, we've got Diaz, Ake, playing in the centre. We can then afford to play one of them on the right. I think honestly, from the treble season, I saw enough from that back four when Akanji played there, or Stones played on the right. I saw that we were solid, man, and that's the thing. Especially at a time where you're struggling defensively, the advantage of playing 4 centre backs at the back, or even 3 centre backs is obviously it's going to make it a little bit more solid. Thing is with Akanji as well, he's not the most pacey of players, but what I can say is that his timing and reading of the game has been good. I'd say it's dipped a little bit over this season, but I mean previously, we saw that his timing was really good, and no matter how quick those defenders were that used to come up against him, he'd deal with them quite well. So I would play him against Real Madrid, but the risk is the centre back issue. So at the moment, that's a no go, to be honest.
I just got to bring this super chat up quickly. I presume this is off the back of seeing shows that we spoke about Paris. Hold tight was Wasim saying, quick one. Which brothers would you rather have supporting City? The Gallagher brothers or the Chuckle brothers? Listen, I'm not, to me then, it's a bit like our defence at the moment. Thank you for the super chat. It would be the Gallagher brothers, 100%. Right. So let's talk about our new DM. We've got a signing over the line. I'm pretty certain. I don't know if Sky have actually said all the lights are off yet and that City are done for the day. But But at the same time, I haven't seen any other news of getting anyone else in. But we have got, by the looks of it, I know it hasn't been fully confirmed, we've got Gonzalez coming in. Apart from Callum, Mason, Imran, you know much on him?
Little bit. But let's let Callum.
I know. Obviously, my only, I could probably get told a bit more on this because you know about more. My biggest thing was, what was the reason Barca sold him?
Good question.
Is the right guy? Financial, right? Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to double check it weren't
and
like
that's probably and to be fair,
he was injury prone or he was something like this, and I just thought, here we go. That was what got me a bit. A young Spanish lad being sold by Barcelona, I was a bit like,
But at the same time, the fact that they put on that massive.
Oh yeah. It's got they've got like 20 million or something.
And let's be honest, right? We've probably got a very similar one with the lad that went to Wolves. Right, we've got a 50% sell-on clause on him. That ultimately he couldn't get into our team. But go on, tell us what you know, Callum. So for anyone that wasn't here at the start, Callum lives over in Portugal. Callum often gives me kind of an opinion on some of the players we're linked with that are Portuguese. So tell me what you know from what you've seen.
He's a very highly rated midfielder over here. Obviously, Porto played last week in the Europa League. They won 1-0 away from home. He scored as well. He can play in the 8, he can play in the 6. In aspects of the 6, he's very similar to Rodri, where he will break up the play. He's very aggressive and he's very strong. He's about 6'3" as well. Obviously, the height there as well.
That's important for us because we're not great with set pieces.
He's quick, which is something in DM midfielders, which is hard to get. And obviously, he can drive forward with the ball. And, aerial as well. He's just superb. He scored last week, like I said, in the Europa League from a set piece header. And, a lot of the Porto fans today in the press, in the news, are not happy that he's going on transfer deadline day. They're very unhappy as well because they've just sold Galeno to a Saudi Arabia team as well. They've been selling a lot of the good assets like Francisco Conceição. He went to Juventus. His dad's just moved to Milan. So the Porto fans at the minute are very unhappy, and obviously, but he'll come in. I think I messaged you just before. He can settle in quick, or he might have to take time to settle in. But he's a very good player.
My concern, look, I think we saw with Rodri. We have to remember Rodri's first season wasn't phenomenal. I think the DM role, the jump from most leagues to the Premier League in the DM role, is a bit of a rude awakening. Sometimes players think they've got more time on the ball than they do have. With him, though, one interesting fact is, I don't know if you lot know this, his dad was part of our academy for a period. But I know it don't mean much, but it does mean that his dad will probably come over here with him and probably help him settle for a little bit, which is a plus.
Do you know much about it? Do you know much about his dad?
Nah, do you know?
So right, his dad was a great footballer, man. So Frank Gonzalez.
He was part of Deportivo.
He played for that great. When we remember the great Deportivo side, back in the days where they were progressing quite far in Champions League football. His dad was part of that team. So he was quite instrumental, obviously, in that team, and obviously he's son of a great footballer. So that's the first bit, but. The thing I wanted to pick up on him is as a kid he was caught. He caught the eyes of Barcelona, and
well, caught the eyes of City. Apparently, we tried to sign him when he was 14. Apparently, for our academy.
And the thing is, his identity is he's a quick midfielder, and his ball playing style is like. The style, I'm not saying he's like him, but his ball playing style is quite similar to the Busquets style.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, very
but his agility is a bit more like Xavi.
Right.
And obviously, look, he came through the La Masia, his La Masia product, and Pep's known him since he was 12, like known of him. So obviously, it's not this, and even cheeky. So it's not something that they just automatically like.
Now apparently we've been tracking him for a while.
Guy. Yeah.
I've been tracking him for a while.
Exactly, and thing with him is he's got great vision. He's even better like with close control. Plays well under pressure.
I've seen some clips of him under pressure. He looks comfortable. Yeah.
He's strong. He's 6'2". He's good with his quick turns. He bursts forward. Good in transition. Some of the qualities that you see in Rodri, which he's got. And the thing is, he's a number 6 with the technique of number 8. So if Rodri comes in, he can easily fit into a number 8 position.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
And this is quite important, right? Go on,
man.
He's a number, right? So he's capable of dictating play, but you know what? He's very good at breaking lines as well, and that's key, man. Key, because the only guy I see breaking lines for us in midfield is Cover.
Yeah. Do you know what I think? I think that's something quite important with Rodri. If we go back to last season, right? Because we have to remember, and I'm going to keep saying this with Rodri. We have to remember the play that we've had with Rodri, which is a 75 game a season player for club and country, will never be again. Okay. Especially a single-handed 6, because when we call Rodri a 6, Rodri's been playing the 6-8 role, right? He has not been playing a 6 role. He's been playing a 6-8 role, right? Yeah. By himself. Last season, you could tell Rodri was getting tired because all of a sudden it was a pivot. It was no longer Rodri doing a 6-8 role by himself. It was Rodri with Kovacic next to him, right? And I think that's the key now, that when we get Rodri back, Rodri will never be, in my opinion, I could be proven wrong, right? But with the injury he's had and also his age, because he's not a spring chicken, Rodri is going to be now probably a player that does a pivot, right, with someone else. And this is where I'm looking at the players we've been linked with to do that role and who we've got. Is it coincidence we've gone and got a Spanish player? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think maybe that's why when we've been looking at other players, we haven't kind of struck as early that maybe, and we're talking about leaders on the pitch, communication's a thing. Maybe Pep needs, is it coincidence that Rodri has worked so well with Pep? Or is it that there is that natural connection there and that Pep's gone and handpicked another player that he thinks can come in and Rodri's back round the team. Rodri can kind of help to embed this player into the team. And I think we've purposely picked a Spanish for this role. I think this is more of a, and I don't think, again, there's players that we could have gone and got, right, that would have come in and joined us and maybe helped us this season. But I think what we've done is we've gone and got a player that's going to be part of this squad for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. Looking at his age, the fact he's Spanish, the fact he can do the 6-8 role. Because I remember when we got Diaz, I wasn't overly happy with Diaz, right? Because I really wanted, who was the player from Kundi? I really wanted Kundi, right? Yeah. But then when we got Diaz, I have a feeling that I might get really pleasantly surprised with this kid.
Mm-hmm. I think you will from what we've seen, to be honest. And you know what? I'm so glad we've just gone out and just bought a direct number 6. I'm glad that, or even a direct number 8. I'm glad we've got someone who can play in these both positions, because you know what? Let's say, look, what Rodri has is a major injury. We don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. You know, so many players have come back from these injuries and it's not been the same, or they've had recurrence of the same injury. So I'm just glad that we've got someone who can play his role if needed and can also play alongside him. So I think it's definitely been carefully thought about, and they've thought about it for quite a while. I don't think he was our first choice, but I think he was up there. He was up there amongst the first two choices, to be honest.
I would have thought he would have been, like you were saying, first or second choice.
He was second choice.
The only thing that's annoying with that is it does seem like, right, he's got a release clause. We love release clauses, right? Release clauses are very simple business to do. Yeah. It seems like the minute he was linked with City, coming through Barcelona's academy, right, his dad having links with City, it pretty much, and us having Pep, it does seem like the minute City were interested, he knew where he wanted to go, which does make me think he can't have been first choice. Otherwise, why was this not done the first week of January?
This is what the exact same thing I was about to say to you then
Yeah.
is I'll try and say it as transparent as possible. If he's this good, is all these things that we hope he's going to be the second coming of Rodri, why we signed him 3 hours before the transfer window closes?
Right.
And I'll tell you why. I know why.
Go on, man.
So check this out, right? We knew what the transfer fee was. We could have paid it straight away and done business. Have you noticed we've got a different structure in this release clause? Did you notice Romano wrote that? It's structured differently, this release clause. And I think that's what we were negotiating. So it's not going to be release clause up front. Here you go. I think there's other things that's built in behind it.
Yeah, it's quite a complex one as well.
That's where the negotiations were.
I guess the other thing is that probably they thought that, right, there's two ways of looking at it, and I guess we don't know how the board operate. They could have thought, look, this is a release clause. Even if we want this done at the last minute, we're going to be able to get this done because it's a release clause. If we hit what they need, they have to let him go. So they were cracking on with getting Marmoush done, cracking on with getting the other ones done. But at the same time, what the hell's that? Looks like you agree with me, Mace.
I don't know.
Just quickly, I hear what you're saying. We have zero clue about what Rodri can get back to. You're right. We none of us know. However, we do know that ACL injuries, right, take a long time, and if not managed correctly, that you're right. Rodri could be a prime specimen that we could rush back tomorrow and he could be perfect. But from what we know of ACL injuries, that isn't how it goes. So we're just saying we have to be careful with him. And I don't think we can expect Rodri to come back. Even if we give him till the summer and he comes back in the summer, we can't then next season expect him to play 75 games. Because if we do, we could lose him for another season again. And the telltale signs were there. Rodri was telling everyone he needed time off. We didn't give him enough time off. He came back in and got injured on his second game back. So, right, overall, let's just wrap this up really and truly with a rating of our transfer window.
I've got a question on the transfer window as well.
Oh, go on, ask the question first.
I had a bit of a chat before with a couple of people. Do you think if there's one signing we could have gone and got, who it should have been? Because
I don't know.
I've spoke to yous constantly, and I put it in our group before. Please tell me I am wrong in this. There's two positions we need right now. Okay? It's a right back and an holding midfielder. Okay? There is one player that our manager has worked with and played him in that position. Why have we not gone and bought Joshua Kimmich? He wants to leave. Apparently, he's going to Real Madrid for less than.
I think there's a whole Real Madrid thing in there as well. So, and I think he wants to finish off at Bayern this season. So,
I just don't understand. He seems like if when you open a pack of cards and you go, oh, I really need this card to sort of complete the collection. I just think in my head, why you wouldn't take a punt on Kimmich for that? Because it's not like we don't think he could do it. He plays a right back and an holding midfielder throughout his whole Bayern career, pretty much. I just don't understand why it's not something we even looked at.
I'm not being a real big fan of Kimmich. I know he keeps being mentioned and stuff. He's been a good player for Bayern, but I just think where we want to be. I don't think Kimmich's the guy. I think he's not at the right stage of his career now that we should be bringing in Kimmich right now. Honestly, I think a player like this guy that we're signing right now, Gonzalez, is way better prospect than Kimmich. Seriously, from what we see, what we hear with him having the La Masia, the whole background of Barcelona and stuff. So, you know what? I think we just got to
I think
these guys now and just hope that we've got the players.
I think that Kimmich would have been, Mace, the perfect person maybe to come in as a plaster for the next season.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so I know what's wrong with that.
If I'm being real with
what's
you,
wrong with having a plaster then?
Nothing at the price we would have had to pay for him. But I would have gone. But if I'm being honest with you, bro, that wouldn't have been now. That would have been back last summer. That might have even been back last January. Kimmich's situation hasn't really changed too much in the last year. I think we should have gone and got him. We should have gone and got him maybe a year ago. But this is where the thing is. Look, I think at the moment where we are, and probably would have demanded a lot of money in a salary. I'm not against it. And if we would have signed Kimmich, I would have been over the moon. But at the same time, there probably would have been a bit in the back of my head that was a bit like, this kind of feels like a desperate thing. And maybe what I'm looking at right now is a lot of what we're doing is based on, look, I believe that Pep has signed the contract he's signed to see us through a rebuild. And I think these signings we're seeing are probably rebuild signings as well.
So that's in terms of
I would have took the plaster, Mason. You're right. I would have took it all day long. I think Kimmich is a mint player and would have been able to come in and taken some pressure off other players doing multiple roles. So it would have made sense.
But there's a reason why Pep's not gone for Kimmich.
Gone.
So there's a reason why. All I'm going to say is Nico Gonzalez next week will shock everyone when he plays against Madrid, and you'll see how good he is. And people will be saying after the game, and he will play. Hopefully,
can you play right back?
No.
Why would we want him?
The issue.
At the moment, we need a centre midfielder. So why would we want that same player playing right back?
Do we not need a right back?
All right. So if we got Kimmich, he would have played right back and central DM role.
No. You play this kid as an older midfielder. And then you play Kimmich as right back.
But you'll get burnt for pace against Vinicius Junior, wouldn't it? Vinny Junior.
So would Matheus Nunes. So would Rico Lewis.
Kimmich doesn't bring the energy that we need. He doesn't bring the energy that we need right now. We need energy, serious energy, and Kimmich doesn't bring that.
Who does?
Not right now.
Who does?
Energy.
Gonzalez brings the energy.
Gonzalez. Yeah.
But we still need a right back.
Kusanov.
You just said Kusanov. You said yourself play Kusanov at the right. You said play Kusanov.
I've not seen him play as a right back. So
I just heard you say it. You said play Kimmich in the middle and play Kusanov on the right.
No. Play the new kid. Play the new kid in the middle. Play Kimmich as a right back.
Right.
None of us. We've not seen Kusanov. We've not seen Kusanov play as a right back yet.
Who plays in midfield?
The new kid. I've just told you. We've signed that Gonzalez. That's not changing anything.
All right.
There's never been a question of don't sign him, sign Kimmich. The question is play him there, then buy Kimmich, and even if it's a loan, and play him as a right back.
Yeah.
You can bring him as a loan if his contract situation is umming and ahhing at the minute. You bring him in to build a plaster, like Dap said, until the summer. If it doesn't work, bye, mate. You can go back. You can go to Real Madrid and go and play wherever you want.
I think we should have, but I just think the board didn't want it. Go on.
I've got a question then. So, would you play Kimmich, who's over 30, whose legs have gone, against Vinicius Junior and then Mbappe going down that side, or Kusanov, who's young, strong?
Bro, listen.
I'll say one word to that: experience.
No chance.
There's a big difference.
Look, the one thing I'll say on experience is last season, there's a certain Spanish right back, right, against us in that second leg that showed experience, right? And he was, I think Madrid are missing him this season as well. Sorry, I always forget his name.
It was in my mind.
Carvajal, that second leg against us, experience.
How old's Carvajal?
32
odd.
32. I'm telling you now, right? And by the way, Madrid fans missed a trick because Carvajal, right, last season won everything he could. If them lot would have actually realised that and all put their votes towards Carvajal.
Oh, yeah,
right,
yeah.
Backed him.
Yeah.
But they decided to go with half Vinicius, half Bellingham, right? When they had a certain individual that's been part of that team and showed experience. Carvajal was
PR trophy,
Carvajal.
mate. That's
that
what it
second
is.
leg. If Real Madrid did not have Carvajal in that second leg against us at the Etihad, we would have battered them. Carvajal was unbelievable that game.
Hold on. I can say the same thing when we battered Madrid 4-0 at home. Did they have Rudiger? They didn't have Rudiger, did they?
No, valid as well. Yeah, valid.
Difference.
Hold on, are you a Madrid fan on here or something? What are you doing?
No, I'm saying the difference in that last year was Nacho and Rudiger. It wasn't Carvajal. If you watch the game back, Nacho Fernandez marked Haaland out the game and Rudiger marked him as well. Completely the game. And they knew the supply line. You watched the battle we had against them. They played, it was David Alaba and Eden Militao, and they didn't know how to cope with him.
Hasn't Rudiger got injured?
Yeah, apparently misses both games, apparently. Apparently, but we know what Madrid's PR is like. He'll probably be warming up on the pitch 5 minutes before the first game.
Right, so do you know what? There's one last thing. Devious Duck has just said a really valid point, and this is relevant to when we're talking about our transfer window. Another player that we've got as well. Another player that we've got coming in. So, based on that, 113 people still here. Please make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. We are on 218 likes, which is phenomenal. If we could get it up a little bit higher, then this show will be pushed out a lot more afterwards. But quick one, just going to quickly go around. Imran, how do you rate this transfer window?
Right. I'm gonna base it on right now and what these players can do for us right now. And obviously, Vitor Hayes and Kusanov are more of a long-term thing right now.
And
I don't think they're the guys.
Well.
So defensively, I think we still haven't addressed the issue. We've managed to get our DM and we've managed to get an attacking player to add to the lines to replace the void that was left by Alvarez leaving. Alvarez leaving. Yeah. It's I'd say around 7. It won't be anything more than that. Around 7. Yeah, definitely.
Mason.
I back the whole defenders for the future. I definitely think that the age of them. Don't get me wrong. I know you mentioned before with Jackson clattering that guy, getting clattered by Kuznetsov the other day. Made me think, Jesus Christ, mate, whack him in anywhere and just let him fucking headbutt someone. But I think we have bought people for the future. The one thing I think we've signed one of the best attackers in the market at the minute, and the fact we just grabbed Mamouche, just bam, give us him, see you later, he's ours, is unbelievable. I'd probably go the same, only because if you look at the broad terms of it, we've bought players for positions we need, give or take. I know there's still obviously a few holes, the right backs, etc. But we've got that lad in as well, haven't we? The left back. I don't know what we're doing with him. Is he called Mitchell or something? I don't. The lad from New York. I don't know. Apparently, I read something the other day. He's playing like. Is he going out?
Or is he playing? Is he playing for the academy? Is he?
I'm not sure. I've seen some. But then we've got that. We've got that kid as well, haven't we? We've got that Claudio. What's he called? The Argentinian lad. He comes in February, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So there's no.
But that's not part of this transfer window.
I know. But we'll see him from this transfer window, if you know what I mean. But I think overall, it's. I think January is a tough one, isn't it? Because realistically, who can you get? Like, I know everyone always says we'll throw the money out there and see what happens, but a lot of the clubs with the big players are not going to sell you someone in January. I think that's why I was a bit baffled by Marmouche, but money did talk on that, and there is release clauses and etc. But I think we've not done that bad, to be honest. There is a few holes, and now we've got this lad coming in. That was, I think, if we didn't get him, a lot of the fans would have been saying we've still not got an older midfielder. Like we've not bought a midfielder of any type. So yeah, it's all right. Wish we bought Kimmich, but yeah, no, I think it's all right.
Yeah. And do you know what? in fact, Callum, yourself?
Yeah, transfer window's been good. 7.5 for me. And yeah, for me, this lad from Porto will be the difference to beat Madrid, and that's all I'm going to say. And
You think?
Yeah,
I like that confidence.
That will be the difference, because if we didn't buy him, we would have gone a goal up, and then it would have been like what happened yesterday: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Couldn't even be a cricket score against us with that midfield. Yeah. So, all I'm going to say, he'll be the difference. So yeah.
Okay.
Can I just add a little bit of positivity to end this?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Look. This is a time where we've got Marmoush, we've got our DM now. You know, so that's already like positive there. But don't forget now, we get our defenders back, we get Aki back and Diaz back. We've got Oscar Bob back in the squad, Echeverry joining in there as well. And you know, if we can keep that team, those players fit for the remainder of the season, and you know these guys will be challenging each other for that starting 11, man. And you know there's a bit of excitement that you know we could possibly go on a bit of a run. Not saying you know we'll do what we did in the past, but you know we can obviously see a bit of you know positivity now for the rest of the season and secure our top 4 spot. And getting into the latter stages, possibly, you know, see if we can get past Real Madrid, and we'll see what can happen. You know, possibility of you know getting to the latter stages and you know getting to the final of the FA Cup. So these are things that we can hope that we can do with these players now. And I think a lot of it was to do with injuries and
they all come back and then be solid. There's a lot of things that I have been really trying to not do over the last couple of weeks, months. Firstly, I don't want to keep telling everyone that we've done a 4-peat, we've done a treble, we've won a Champions League, we've done 100 points. I don't want to do that because I grew up with Liverpool fans constantly talking about their past, right? So I'm trying to not do that. And do you know what? I'm just sitting here like a big fat elephant that never forgets, right? And that everything that everyone's saying, I'm thinking, have your fun. Because do you know what? This transfer window, we have shown that, and anyone that thinks, like the amount of times I hear, that's it, City dropping off now, right? Pep's lost his mind. All of that crap, yeah? This transfer window, we've shown everyone, if you really think that Khaldoon and Sheikh Mansour and Pep and Tiki are just going to sit here and go, yeah, all right, well, we've had our fun now. Should we sell the club and fuck off, right? They're not, right? So for me, it's we ride the storm. Arsenal had their day yesterday. They had a great day. They had a lot of fun. They beat us. They beat us badly, and it hurt. But anyone that thinks that we're gone are off their rocker, right? Are absolutely off their rocker. There is no way that we are not bouncing back from this. And this transfer window alone, remember, this is a January transfer window, which is difficult, yeah? This has shown and furthermore, by the way, we've got to remember, during this transfer window, we have heard that in the summer, our board are going big. So we just have to remember, don't worry. Like, this is what we've done here is probably set the foundations, and in the summer, we'll go big again. A bit like, I think, Pep's, was it not Pep's first January transfer window that we got Laporte? I think it was.
I don't think it was the first one. I don't think it was the first one.
2017-18, we got Laporte in January.
We got in January 2017, which was Pep's first January transfer window.
It's criminal that we let him go, you know.
I know, absolutely insane. But we got Laporte, right? Criminal. We got Laporte in January because something needed addressing urgently. Because I'm sure we got Laporte. Was it not? Maybe it was. Either way, right? Honestly, we're going to go again big in the summer. It was second. Okay, thank you. But ultimately, it was a case of we needed something addressing there and then. We went and addressed it. Then in the summer, we followed on. So, look, we have to be positive. Look, and furthermore, our fun and games was not going to be every season. So it is what it is. But anyway, thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Massively appreciate it. We're going to be back tomorrow with myself, Steve, Nobbins, Tone, and Martin. I believe it is a 6 or 7. No, it's a 7 p.m. show. 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Everyone, hopefully the Arsenal fan base will shut up now, but I very much doubt it. They'll probably carry on for a little bit longer. But hey, they play against Newcastle soon, and they'll probably be knocked out of the Carabao Cup, and then maybe then they will quieten down a little bit. But until then, this is the South Stand. We're out. Love.